All right, in this video, I'm gonna show you how to lay out studs, floor joists, pretty much anything that is 16 on center. So at this point in time in class, we have probably talked about laying stuff out on 16-inch centers. Floor joists are 16-inch centers, studs are 16, and if they're not 16, they're 24-inch centers. So if you look at your tape measure, all right, one of the things is at every foot, there's a little black arrow or doghouse or whatever you want to call that. And then at every 16, there is, your 16s are in red blocks. And then you got another doghouse, another 16 is in red block. And the reason they do that is most people don't know their multiples of 16. I can do my 16s up to 100, and then past 100, I don't know. All right. One of the things that we do in class that we talk about is how to find out how many studs you need, how many floor joists you need, and especially with floor joist. You take the number, all right, the length of the house, whatever the length of the house is, divide that, make that into inches, then divide by 16. So let's say that we had a 4 foot, like we're making one of these little dog houses over here, right? And it's 4 foot long. Well, 4 foot is 48 inches, okay? And that's how long these boards are, 48. All right, divided by 16 is 3. But I actually end up needing, the reason we have to add 1 for the end joist is because the one that doesn't get counted is this very beginning one. So if you go 16, 32, 48, that's 3. The one that doesn't end up getting counted is the very starting one. So that's why we have to add 1 for the end joist. All right. Now, I like to work from left to right, just like I do in pretty much all of my videos. All right, left to right. You don't necessarily, guys in industry don't always put a mark here, but I like to just for reference sake. My board is gonna sit flush with the edge of this board, and so I'm gonna come over 1.5 inches. All right, that's the thickness of all of my 2x lumber, whether it be 2x10, 2x8, 2x6, 2x4, all of my 2x lumber is 1.5 inches. Put a mark at 1.5 inches. I'm gonna put an X closest to this side. Now we don't mark wood even though we lay them out on 16-inch centers, we don't mark it at 16. And I'm just gonna give you an example. If I mark that at 16, all right, there's a little mark here. If I were to do this right here, you can't tell if that mark is in the center of that board or not. There's no way to know. And even if it's only off a 16th per every stud or floor joist is gonna put you way off at the end, okay? So instead of marking the center, we mark the edge. We know, all right, we know the thickness of our 2x material. It's 1.5 inches. From here to here is 1.5 inches. So if we know that the 16 is supposed to be in the center, we can go back half the thickness of this. Well, half of 1.5, all right, is 3/4. So I got 3/4 on that side of my center line. I got 3/4 on this side of my center line. So 3/4 over there, 3/4 over here. So if I'm at 16 and I go back 3/4, I'm gonna be at 15.25. Put a mark at 15. My X is where my stud is going to go, my floor joist is gonna go, my rafters are gonna go, whatever you're laying out, doesn't matter. It's gonna go on my 16 side, where my red box. So my X goes on my red box side. I find my next red box. Instead of putting a mark at 32, we go back 3/4. I put a mark at 31.25. So 32 minus 3/4 is 31.25. I put an X on our red box side. Now my floor, if I was doing a floor system for a doghouse, it would end right here. So the edge would be flush here, so I need to go back 1.5 inches. All right? And put me an X closest to the edge. All right? So if I were marking out header joists for a floor system, look like that, we take our speed square, and this would be my other header joist, but I don't need to mark it out because I've got my square. They make big framing or speed squares too, and I can mark this all the way across. And if this is 3.5 and that's 3.5, 3.5 here, 3.5 here, that's a total of 7. If you'll notice, if you watch how this fits, it fits just right across both of them. Put that there, and that way both of these pieces of wood match. And I put my X's, and what I like to do, just to make sure that, so if you flip these around or get them twisted up, they won't match up anymore. unless it's a multiple of 16, which it is. So I like to put an A and just an A. That tells me that these two ends go together and those two ends go together. All right? So you find 16, find the center, go back 3/4 of an inch, put a mark, put your X on the 16 side. Now, if this was a sole plate and a top plate for a floor system, for walls, and my wall kept going here, like this, right where this joint's at, a stud could go on that joint there, and instead of coming back an 1.5 inches, we would just come back that 3/4 like we did earlier, okay? So if my wall kept going, right, and my board wasn't long enough to cover my whole wall, my stud would sit on that joint there, all right? So that's how you lay out 16 on center. Just a very basic, 4 foot of board. We'll show you in another video how to do it a little bit longer when we lay out walls for openings such as windows and doors.